Alrighty, back to reading all these. Yeah, we just did emails, so cameras. Oh. Niyashka Site 28 is fitted with cameras to offer security to certain important areas of the site. While they were originally used to monitor from remote locations such as the lab HQ, they are also integrated into activating and locking machinery vital to the operations of Niyashka Site 28. Click on the cameras to view its current status. Nah, no cameras. There's crane cameras and crystal block mech cameras. Oh, so that was a camera. The little drone thingy sticking up in near the first beginning of the game. It's looking at the 3 crystals. So I'll be able to see those crystals from here at some point. But first I have to figure out why all the cameras are currently off. Oops, that's not the right button. Payeeta information. Payeeta's power the machinery required to complete the harvesting of the Niyashka spores in every Niyashka site. After being processed in Olujay, they are delivered to all Niyashka sites and stored at their associated HQ. Payeetas require weekly maintenance using the PSF reader. Payeeta sensitivity feeler reader? I don't... select one of the components below to find out more about their use in Payeeta activity. Please notify your instructor if any Payeetas fail to operate during training sessions. This is the case. The Payeeta case. Payeetas are stored in specifically designed case, protecting them while keeping them at a cool temperature. The green leather design is very reminiscent of the scales found on Benoxy dragons here in Olujay. Toledo portal symbols are used for the emblem set within the center of the case, representing the 4 sectors of Niyashka Site 28. When you need to use a Payeeta, find them in this case. Payeeta activation holder. A cup-shaped device built into machinery that requires a Payeeta to operate. The steel metal of the holder reacts to the energies of the Payeeta, releasing them through the funnel at the bottom to the holder in the connected apparatus. Insert the essential Payeeta here, marked with the Payeeta plaque. Blah. Payeeta device. Payeetas are the power source for Niyashka sites, developed in red, blue, green, and yellow designs. 3 components make up the symbology of the Payeeta device. A Payeeta portal triangle, representing location. A line of 4 squares, representing the Payeeta energy level. A circle with a line through it, which makes the Payeeta unique to its given location. So the triangle represents the location. The energy level is the 4 squares, which is also the colors, apparently, because I noticed the colors and squares correlate. And the circle with the line through it is just an arbitrary number to make them unique. The Payeeta factory. Before the manufacture of Payeetas begun in Olujay, the Vizaltians discovered that Payeetas deep below the ocean and gathered them using a machine called the levitation crane. It existed at the elevator sector of Niyashka Site 28. Back then, this land was known as the Vizaltians as Neyyah. So it's not now? So it's not currently called Neyyah. These Payeetas were delivered by boat to the old harbor of the arrival sector and then transferred by cart to the Payeeta factory. A powerful group of Vizaltians known as the Payeeta clan created the energies required to power the Payeetans within the factory. So the Payeeta clan are Vizaltians, and I take it that Niyashka Site and Neyyah are the same place, and it's called Niyashka now, but it was called Neyyah when the Vizaltians were here. But it sounds like even they just discovered the Payeetas, so even they didn't create the Payeetas, so none of the civilizations involved actually created this technology, or the resource at least. A note from Vamir. Niyashka Site 28 still retains a lot of its ancient Vizaltian landscape compared to the other Niyashka sites, or or Phalidians, which is the Fazaltian term for Payeeta harvest farm. What? I'm just gonna disregard that. Despite the war, which broke our alliance apart, I believe it's still important to understand and respect the origins of the powers which enable us to prosper here on this beautiful planet of Feyamore. The planet's called Feyamore. I need to make a diagram of all this. Good luck in your training. Tour times at the laboratory will be given by your instructor, Vamir Dahili, head scientist. That was multiple layers of nested messages under Payeeta. Payeeta plaque. Each machine that requires Payeeta's power will have a Payeeta plaque, usually built very close to the Payeeta activation holder. A lot of Payeeta plaques have been upgraded, while there are some dating back to a time even before the betrayal, when Eljuran and Vazaltian technology were at balance with one another. 3 components make up the symbology of the Payeeta plaque. A Talita portal triangle representing location, a line of 4 squares representing the Payeeta's energy level, and a circle with a line through it which makes the Payeeta unique in its given location. The plaque has the same information that the actual Payeetas have. So basically, whenever you have a place where you can use Payeetas, it seems like it's mostly going to not be a puzzle. It's just going to be the game tells you which globe to put there from your inventory of globes. Which is interesting because you also don't have to collect the globes. You seemingly start the game with all of them. Because you would think that you had to like find the correct keys for each door then, if they're going to do that kind of mechanic. But I imagine that some of the plaques are going to be obscured in some way and you'll have to figure out which one to use. Some way of intuiting what energy level they need and then having the... picking the triangle correctly, but then maybe having to brute force the last part if there's more than one that fits that. PSF reader. The Payeeta signal frequency is PSF. Is an energy reading. All Payeetas require a PSF reader check before they are sent to Niyashka sites for operation. Every Niyashka site now has a PSF reader, maintaining the best performance from Payeeta devices and ensuring the most reliable Niyashka Spore harvests. PSF reader version 7400BT is developed by Grey Mountain Systems. How many companies are there, I wonder? Oh, next? Huh. Took me somewhere I've been to before, though. Because suddenly I was like paranoid, like, has there been other next buttons before? Because I'm trained to not think about that word over here because that says exit. And next is actually even like similar letters and duration and whatnot. Yeah, they just randomly replace exit with next on this one page, which is strange interface design. Huh. Okay. Well, that's the bulk of it. I'll probably have to come back once I have a better idea of what my next obstacles are and have to troubleshoot what's going on. What's on this computer? Niyelda Platinum System Number 1. System information. The Niyelda Platinum series is the perfect cradle and elevation machine for any type of and size of Niyashka plant. This machine comes with reinforced Nasilia metal and Pelorian plasma tubes, sustaining large distances between any ocean portal it may be required to travel through in order to grow and deliver spore production. It will rest at a more elevated position above heater systems, more so than any of the previous models, generating a much more successful spore harvest. Once the Niyelda is fueled via an activation cabinet, and a 2-part symbol is successfully transferred to Niyelda Platinum System Number 2, the Niyelda will take less than a minute to reach Point B destination. The fuel for the activation cabinet system is required to be powered from a remote location on to the Niyelda itself. The key, safe box, and activation cabinet for fueling the Niyelda will be provided to you a couple of days before the main machine is shipped. So starts the Niyashka zone, ends at the Spore collection pool. Activation status. 3 symbols are required. Binocular. So we heard about that. The binoculars have some kinds of symbols in them. Let's see here. Yeah, so one of them is here. But I can't put it in, seemingly. Huh. So we find symbols somewhere, and then they'll activate these binoculars in these panels. Awaiting symbol connection with Niyelda Platinum System number 2. Destination classified. Binocular activity. User notes. The diverter tower on arrival sector continues to provide a strong signal, enabling a successful transmission of symbols to the binoculars connected to the Niyelda Platinum System number 2. The Elopolite shield is now nothing but a ruin, looming above the diverter tower like a corpse. And those binoculars stationed at the watchtowers nearby serve no purpose anymore. While it continues to provide a steady source of power for the Niyelda, I do believe it will be wise to consider constructing a brand new system, one which doesn't require old Filsacian technology. I always did appreciate their understanding and cooperation back when I decided to lay down the plans to construct the ocean portal, but after what they did to us, Vamir. Anyway, make sure transmission from arrival sector to HQ lab sector at the diverter tower remains strong for the Niyelda operations to be performed successfully. The Neyyah depends on it. Smollex Mehmet. Yeah, after what they did to us. The Smollex is perpetually pissed about a betrayal. Fuel activation. So full left, top, right are put somewhere. And I have those fuses, but they might have to be calibrated or something. Because we have that other thing that talked about being able to read the fuses and get some kind of a number. And then I have to multiply that number by some other number. Oh, here we go. What's going on here? Is the game bugged? I can't open my inventory or anything else, really. I'm gonna restart. I can't open my inventory or any of the menus, including the escape menu, which seems unintentional, because I was going to try to put the fuses on there. Alrighty, and we're back. Hopefully I don't lose anything from not recreating all the steps I already did, but I don't think I turned anything on. I think I just, like, read a bunch of stuff. No? Do I have to get closer to it? No? Well, at least this screen works now, so that's good. I don't think, yeah, this is just a screen. Yeah, it means to put symbol code activation board activated. Does it mean this one? Oh. Oh. Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that correlate with this thing? Oh, dots. It's stopping at these dots. 1, 2. So the order here is 1, 3, 2, 4. Okay. That's interesting. So the full one is 1, up is 2, left is 3, and right is 4. These are actually out of order compared to the thing I was seeing over there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I supposed to press them in that order? Did I do that? I did them in that order, at least. We don't know if that's actually what my goal is. Everything here just says activated and powered, so it doesn't really indicate that I needed to fix anything necessarily. As far as I know. And this was, yeah, that's just you. So we might be ready to at least look around this office more now. Victory 4231. Isn't that one of the passwords they're using? Is the, I guess, the data that victory? Oh, where am I? Oh, where am I? That's the main entrance. This is somewhere else. Can I get away from it? A little more space? Yeah, I ended up at that door. I was trying to look at that. But I guess not. There's also these... Are these doors? They look more like doors at this angle, at least. Go left or right on this table, I guess. Oh, this drawer opens. That one doesn't. Okay, we'll start here. The fragility of the Flitsu Dome. Dear Smolax, I am writing you in regards to the increasing fragility of the Flitsu Dome. I understand you are very busy putting a lot of our resources into the Leflomium portal, but I believe we are so close to creating a brand new source of energy through the Flitsa roots, which could easily surpass any of the current Payeetas we have coming out of the labs. I appreciate the hard work and time already spent in separating the Flitsu Dome from the rest of the Flitsu Island. However, I'm going to require more sophisticated materials if I am to sustain healthy root growth and generate accurate results through the Bannock's computer system. One of my current concerns is a faulty pipe at Flitsu Pod 4. Keeps disconnecting and leaking fluids everywhere. I call upon the aid of the priests at the Niyelda Temple. With their specialized tools, I believe we can take full advantage of using more natural-based resources from Feyamore. So far, the tests carried out look hopeful, with more roots churning out stronger pelakite readings. My faith in the use of Feyamore's natural resources also stems from having used another plant material. The Kafunkia mushroom produces spores which, when mixed with two chemicals, tashibanial and clophenol, produce a very efficient and sustainable light source. Unlike the Flitsu roots, no seawater is required to add to the mix. I have set up a few of these light sources around Nyashka Site 28. Please find attached a couple of photos referring to points I've made in my letter. I am free any time in the coming week to arrange a meeting with yourself and any of the priests which may be available to speak further on the Flitsu Dome's upgrades. Best wishes, Vamir. So those are mushroom spore things with two chemicals is creating the light sources. And there's the leaky spot. I wonder if something specifically is fucking with it. To Vamir Dahili, I'm informing you of the immediate closure of the elevator at the Flitsu Dome until the button mechanism there has been fixed. I'm curious as to why the button has been tampered with in the first place. I'm not sure what to expect a new mechanism. I'm not sure when to expect a new mechanism installation. I might have parts for you to collect sometime in the next week or two, but I can't say for sure. As you're aware, work has been very demanding in the Niyelda Temple lately. I will revise any structural checks for the dome's roof and inform you of any confirmed dates for inspection. Until then, I hope work with the Flitsu roots continues to provide promising results. Smolax. I think that's the elevator I couldn't figure out how to run because there's just no button there, right? The plasma field has been activated successfully. All operations on the dome will cease for now, as explained in my letter. Hope you were able to find a fix for the button system there. Inform me as soon as you can. Smolax. And he apparently hasn't. But I'm guessing that Vamir might have sabotaged it intentionally. to stop somebody else from being able to access something. Okay, we have the same 4 configurations again. Spore heater prototype. Spores detected, heaters inactive. I wasn't expecting them just to drop in like that. Now the 4 symbols are glowing. Is that so? Are these the spores and now they're being heated and that generates the power? Heaters active, spores detached, harvest required. How doth one harvest? I don't. Oh, hello. Almost didn't see that drawer. Printed from Bannock's computer system, emails, Aluxis heating systems, blah 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 blah. Sender heating systems 1 month ago. To the attention of Vamir Dahili. This email is in response to our meeting alongside our protector, Smolak's Mehmet, in regards to his concerns with the current heater system set up on Neyyah Site 28. After reviewing the current setup you have running, we have decided to begin installation of the new pipes which will carry the heater server cables from heater servers. It's such a strange way of writing, just overall. It's written in such a specific way where they... Admittedly, it's like sometimes like probably more clear, technically, but the insistence on saying like carry heater server cables from heater servers, yeah, so the cables from the heater servers, the cables used for the heater server. Like there's just like a lot of like more elegant ways somebody would phrase something like this, but here it seems like their writing style insists on using the exact keyword at all times for every proper noun in the setting, or ever just like every name, which is what makes it feel like it's translated. But on the intro screen it says that the game is from Australia, so it's not translated exactly. But maybe it makes it easier to translate it otherwise. I don't know. Let's see. We have decided to begin installation of new pipes which will carry the heater server cables from the heater servers through the Ludwig connection tower and into the Neyyah heater chamber. I hope you have received the prototype pipe already. This metal will enable more protection for the cables and withstand hotter temperatures once the system is powered. Right, they mean carry cables as in like house the cables. The pipes house the cables. Carrying them made me think that they're going to like send the cables through the pipes, like they're a pipe delivery. The pipes are a cable delivery system, and that's like a weird thing to think about when it's 2 long things that are themselves things that carry things, because cables themselves carry wiring and charge and so on. So there's so many layers of internal snaking to think about. Smolaks has also decided to heighten security on the use of the fuse boxes and the heater servers. Rather than using only the Trondi counts generated by the Holtish machines, they need to be multiplied by certain numbers. I'll leave these numbers for you to decide upon. The results will be the numbers required to power the fuse boxes. I am also glad you decide on a remote source of power for the overall activation of the heater servers. 4321, again. With colors. So there's a coloration assigned to the numbers. I respect your wish to not to interfere too much with the old Fazaltian technology you seem to latch on to. Let's see. Yeah, we actually read this entire email already. It just wasn't printed out separate, but this one did have a little page hidden within them. Okay. So they had a code, but they wanted to hide it amongst that stuff. I don't think you can use a spacebar to check for response. Nope. I don't think you can interact with this directly. Keep wanting to check the other drawers first. Okay, so it's just this one. Remote power using the mushroom spores. Satellite connects to remote light sources. Spores inserted inside cabinet. Okay. After different experiments, I have found the Gefunkia mushroom spores at the sleeping tower area of the Flitsu Island to work more effectively on the new remote-powered lanterns. Maybe it has something to do with nearby Banoxy proto. Those rays could be aiding the potency of the spore's growth. I'm quite happy with the new contraption which processes the spores. So far so good. Let there be light in dark places. It's a nitpicky thing, but just the way it's written, I'm like, okay. I feel like it'd be cleaner, it'd be easier to go like, I have found the Gefunkia mushroom spores to work most effectively on the new remotely powered lanterns. That's just a cleaner, easier sentence that gives you the clear intent, like, oh, this is the intended message of the entire note is, these spores work well on this thing. And then you could later be like, I should go get some more spores from the sleeping tower area of Flitsu Island. Like, have a separate statement elsewhere in the message that mentions their location. But here, they mentioned the location in the middle of the description of the point of the thing, so it obscures it, it makes the language weaker, it makes the sentence more confusing to read in a big ol' mouthful, because the purpose of the sentence is to communicate how good spores are at being in this machine, but it's interrupted and doubled in length to explain where the spores came from, which could still be in the same note, but not necessarily in the same sentence. It's one of those nuances of writing that's like hard to communicate because it just kind of vibes a little bit, but like when you get too many parenthetical statements in your thing, it really makes it harder to parse, but also just less, it makes the writing feel more aimless by comparison. Let's see. So this side opens up to even more office. Or in this case, bedroom, I guess. Those different doors? Okay, I came from there. This is something else. It's not anything, actually. You can't go there. Okay. That's just an interesting wall. It's probably like the middle of the overall structure of this place. These really do remind me of linking books. Oh. Another one that we keep. Vamir's journal, Lab HQ, Glorfiak Mines. So he has a lot of journals. They're largely all called that. I've had to dismantle the railings at the bridge landing. I've had to dismantle the railings at the bridge leading to the old bunker on Scarliti Towers. They were rusted almost to nothing. A shame Smolix doesn't share the same views on the Flatsian world as I do, or at least he used to. Even the symbol, which represents Flitsu Island, is a full circle, when it didn't need to be. All the others are broken circles. He just had to make it clear that Olujay is indeed the center of everything. There's been a recent addition to the Bannock's computer system in the lab, an update to the Jatuka portal, apparently delivering a stronger access to the Spore docks through the Toledo portal leading to Penorvia Point. Delivering a stronger access, huh. I believe this will cause extra strain on the system there, even with the countless fixes Smolix has slapped onto these ancient machines. We'll see how this pans out. So Smolix is the one that decided that Flitsu Island must be a full circle symbol because it has the most connection to Olujay, I guess? And all of the other islands are like or half circles, and those are the genuine Flitzian. Is that the old symbol even, or is it just where they decided to apply to them all? Smolix seems to have taken a liking to my recent experiments with Gefunkia mushroom spores. The results on the lanterns I have set up so far on Neyyah seem to indicate they deliver a great source of light power. While the lanterns seem to be working great on flat surfaces, more uneven, rockier surfaces cause the lantern tentacles to lose their grip. I have thus been working on a more remotely powered sources of light which can be activated by these beautiful Gefunkia mushroom spores. So far, so good. So that is the one thing I have, is I do have the spores that are apparently useful for power, and I might be able to power something with them at some point. Quick maintenance check on the Kula crystal setup. I installed a while ago at the watchtower of Falitsu Island's harbor. Surprising how powerful it still is after having not inspected it for a good month or two now. Seems to work fine still. The heater servers don't seem to complain. The old Levin dishing tower, still nearby, still provides even today, despite most of it now crumbling away into the ocean. Mason seems quite content with the new responsibilities I have given him, regards to checking up on the Niyashka plant, making sure everything is running at point A, the Niyashka zone. The Niyelda Platinum series models are great and hold up very well, but I doubt any upgrades will be taking place for a while. Smolex fears the Spore counts are getting low here on Site 28, as he calls it. Competition is coming your way, he says. We'll see about that, Smolex. I have managed to hide the crystals safely away in a place Smolex will never end up going. Probably too afraid he'll be attacked by Neopolite. Elopolite. Still lurking away in those dark chambers after all these years. No Goler craft to save you, Smolex. Not now. So the Elopolites are the ones that they said betrayed them, right? He thinks he's going to be hunted. Mason seems to agree with me on making sure there's a place to remind ourselves what color is needed for which mechanism. The Spore docks sound good. I've managed to tinker around with the... What? I managed to tinker around with the power flow of the console there. See, it's that those three sentences are in a paragraph together, but they don't really seem to be related statements. Mason seems to agree with me on making sure there's a place to remind ourselves. Okay, never mind. No, I'm wrong. Okay. I felt insane. Right, there's a place in the Spore docks which will remind me what color is needed for the mechanism. For which mechanism? Okay. The Niyelda activation console is in a secure place at point A of the ocean portal, but I've made sure the key is also secure, and the Spore docks seem a convenient place considering the safe which holds it. The Veltron machine continues to work its magic, even with the Payeeta clan no longer present to oversee its power. However, may they forgive the slight alterations I have had to install into the machine, due to the mechanisms there being so ancient. It will work well for the code system. The oil canister still fits and operates as it should do, fueling the machine. With the use of the Billix oil, it feels it still connects the Veltron temple with other 5 zones of Falitsu Island. I was tidying up some spilled Levandis crystals from a fallen bowl of the emergency exit chamber of Glorfiak Mines the other day. The sea breeze can pick up a gale through the closed tunnel there. Then I stopped in my tracks and thought about my actions. While I strive to preserve what is left of the Fezaltian world, perhaps I too am only sucking dry the remaining soul of this scarred land. As it is, a monstrous machine now sits where the Chianti Hall used to be, housing these very Levandis crystals which were protected and held sacred to the Fezaltians, dating back to a time long ago when Elithure sailed out to discover the constellation numbers. And now, they are connected up to pipes and tubes, dunked in solutions to help grow Falitsu plants, yet another part of Fezalta stolen by us and molded to fit our own needs. Am I just like Smolex? Even in my attempts to help better Olujay, perhaps I am not preserving anything of their old world at all. I know many of the old Fezaltian spears have either fallen or been blown off from certain structures here in Neyyah, and I have let these be, as though not to disturb too much of this ancient world. Maybe I should let my thoughts be for now. I can only do what I can. Until the Quilivian is found, Fezalta remains in the grip of Olujay. Neyyah will only be Niyashka Site 28, and the Lodvik Tower, once bearing the sacred Lodvik waters which were pumped into Niyashka Chamber to help grow the beautiful plant, will only ever serve as another means in which I am guilty of instigating, a means of escape. Everything is built to serve Olujay. What will the Visaltians think when they return here to Neyyah? I do wonder if it's too late. Orion speaks of the old one. They shall arrive here very soon. From what she has told me about them, I hope it's sooner rather than later. Okay, so there was a musical sting when the name Orion was used earlier in the previous recording. And it seems Orion is the oracle that foretold my coming. They said that right after what will the Visaltian thinks when they return here to Neyyah. Am I a Visaltian? Is that the implication of that, or do they just kind of like put thoughts next to each other that don't flow? I'm not sure. This is interesting just because we get to have more... We got a much more direct, like, introspective thought from the character instead of having to deal with the constant talk of schematics and things that plug into things and whatnot. Although there's some of that here too. We get to deal with like some of their actual thoughts about what's going on. I don't know why he's so obsessed with maintaining an ancient culture. In particular, it gives me the ick a little bit, basically. But that's partly because of the parallels with Myst. Because he's kind of aligned with the villain of Myst when you think about it. Which is interesting to think about there, or I guess technically the villain of Riven, which makes sense because this game is more specifically a Riven-style game than it is a Myst-type game. But the, we're getting a sense of their dynamic a little bit, even though we don't fully... It's mostly talked about mostly in vague terms. There's a certain element of the villain of this game, or the antagonist, I guess. Smolax is being framed as a colonialist, basically, exploiting pre-existing lands and cultures and so on for anything that he can do, and bulldozing it in the process. And that's interesting because the Myst franchise is very heavily about colonialism. It's almost exclusively about colonialism. I was working on a script about this, oh god, maybe 2 years ago now. I cannot believe it's been on the shelf for that long. I'm so bad at managing all of the different projects I'm always working on. But I was trying to do a thing discussing the ways that Myst is about generational abuse and colonialism, and it's very heavily and specifically about that the whole way through. But Gen, the villain of Riven, specifically is exploiting the people of Riven and playing with their superstitions and doing anything he can to gain power that he can use. And he was like that before he was isolated to Riven. He was already this cruel person that, but he was also doing so while constantly idolizing this like lost past, which like itself, his obsession with the fall of Dunny, I always forget which one it is. Dunny sounds stupid, so I always want to call it Dunny because I just don't like Dunny. But that always made him sound a bit like a fascist, which isn't that far off from some of his behaviors. But one of the go-to ways of summarizing a character as being a fascist is often to make them constantly searching for some lost past era of glory and so on. So that's they did heavy on that, with him always trying to restore Denis, even though he doesn't really understand that culture that well and was never that good at the arts and was too young to fully absorb a lot of the culture with that place. So he's kind of grasping back at a society that even he doesn't fully understand, and sometimes they even seem to frame it like Atris, who never experienced any, actually has a more intuitive understanding of a lot of their culture and their capabilities than Gen ever did, who was kind of a failure in that aspect. He's really bad at the culture and the art and everything. But here we're framing our protagonist, or not our protagonist, but we're framing the good guy essentially as being obsessed with, as being, they're like two halves of Gen. Like the Smolax is doing the part where Gen is exploiting nature and people and so on and not caring what he does to it. Whereas Vamir is separately just obsessing over this lost culture just for the sake of it. And that's interesting just because I'm like, what benefit is there to obsessing over a lost culture if everyone is gone and you're not of that culture? So it's like it's alienated from that original premise, and now it's just somebody who's obsessed with an ancient culture, but they seem to treat it like how you would, for example, choose to safeguard, for example, like Native American reservations and someone like that. Like, you know, like a culture that's been colonized but still exists. Like he talks about preserving them in a vital sort of way, not like in a historical sort of way. He's not like, oh, we need to keep a record of all this stuff and we need to keep these relics safe or stuff like that. He seems to genuinely think that we have to keep things as they are forever, even as they're rotting away, but not for anyone, because the people are completely gone. Or so I thought, because then there's a line about them returning, and I'm like, is that a genuine thing you know is going to happen? Like, are they going to come back via their linking book and just repopulate this place at some point and just move back in? Or are they all gone and you're talking about them hypothetically coming back, but you have no idea if they're even alive anymore? I'm not totally clear what's going on with the Fazaltians. There's of course a lot of grasping around too, because you're just trying to figure out like what we're talking about a lot of the time. I found it interesting that he has an end point in his journal, as if he's never going to write in this journal again or something. Like it's where we run out of text, but otherwise a bit strange. So how many of my journals are Vamir's journal and just called Vamir's journal? At the very least that one is. Yeah, they have the same little icon on them. That makes sense. So I don't think we necessarily have like an order that they're in, which would be a little helpful. Could be private and professional thoughts, but maybe not, because I think they both have really granular descriptions of mechanics and things. Well, we've found his innermost chambers.